Hi boys and girls, my name is Miss Unger and I am one of the second grade teachers here at 7Gen. Today I'm going to tell you a little bit about our first unit in second grade in our investigations, and that is the Fantastic Forest. So the first thing that we talk about in our Fantastic Forest is social versus natural systems and how they work together around us. Then we really dive into our forest itself and we look at the life cycle of a tree. We talk about seed dispersal, which is how things get dispersed around us. Then we really look into leaf characteristics and how to identify a tree. And we use our arboretum that was made by past second graders. And we look at all the characteristics that that tree has, and we use our tree guides to identify what that tree is called. So that is really cool. So if you've ever gone around 7Gen and you've seen those little black plates on any of our trees, that is part of our arboretum that past second graders have made, and maybe this year you can add to that as well. Along with the tree identification, we look at tree cookies, and no, it is not one that you eat. A tree cookie is just a slice of that tree, and when we look at it, we see all the rings that are in it, and we can tell how old a tree is, and we can also tell what happened in its life. So we can see if it was malnourished, so if it didn't have enough sunlight or if it didn't have enough water. We can see if it grew a lot that year and it had enough water and it had enough sunlight. We can also see diseases or bugs if it ate it, if there was any fires on it. So that is something really cool to be able to identify as well. We also look at the products that our trees give to us. So I'm sitting at my desk right now and it's made out of wood. So that definitely came from a tree, but there are all different things around us that come from trees or products from trees. So that's really cool to look at as well. Other things that we look at in our Fantastic Forest have to do with our habitat garden. So out back again where the playground is, we have our habitat garden right by the outdoor classroom. And the second graders this past year, they helped clean it up and make sure that there was no weeds in it that we didn't want, and made sure that the plants that we had in there were flourishing so that we can attract species that we wanted. We also talk about the different species and how they use camouflage and what that does in helping them and hurting them so that they can stay safe. Other things that we talk about in our Fantastic Forest unit is somewhat of a not so good thing, and that's our invasive species. So a lot of you know about the spotted lanternfly, and we talk about spotted lanternflies all the time, and 7Gen is really on a mission to make sure that they go away because they are not good to our trees. We talk about spotted lanternflies, but we also talk about different invasive species and diseases like the blight that affects our American chestnut and woolly delgits and all different other species. So that's really cool to learn as well, because then you can tell other people about these invasive species so that we can help save our trees and so they don't hurt our trees. So that's really cool. We also talk about bird adaptations. So birds are in our forest and we learn a lot about them, and adaptations means how they change to survive. So we take a look at their beaks and their feet, and then you actually get to make a model of one of the birds that we talk about. So that's really cool. So we make it out of Model Magic. You get to color it and it looks just like one of the birds that we talk about. So that's a really fun project that we do in second grade. Other things that we talk about are deer biodiversity, which there are deer in the forest, and we have to make sure that they are balanced, because if there are too many deer, it's not good for the forest, and if there's not enough deer, it's also not good for the forest. So we talk about the biodiversity, which means the balance of the deer population in the forest and how we can manage it as humans, and what nature does to balance it as well. We also talk about producers, consumers, and decomposers, and one of our decomposers of a shrew, which is a little critter that helps our forest, and we read stories about him and learn all about him. So that is a little tidbit of what we talk about in the forest. We get into a lot of different subjects in the forest, and it is really up to what you want to know about the forest that we can dig deeper into so that if you have a question, we can answer it. I'm so excited to meet all of you in the fall, and I am ready to get back at school. I miss everybody so much, and I miss all of your smiling faces, and I'm just super excited. So have a great summer, and I will see you in the fall. All right, boys and girls, see you later.
Hello, future second grader. My name is Mrs. Roth, and I am so excited to tell you about our inventions unit. This unit is a ton of fun, and we do a lot of exploring and creating. We'll learn about transportation and how transportation has changed over time from the past, the present, and what might it look like in the future. We also look at inventions from the past, the present, and what will they look like in the future. We learn about how sound travels and assistive devices that we can use to help us hear when we can't hear so well anymore. We also learn about simple machines, which are tools that we use in our everyday life, and they're very simple. We also do a couple of really neat projects. We do a natural home design project. This project, you research a natural disaster and you create a home that can withstand that disaster. We also have a pen pal project. So you will have a pen pal at a place called Good Shepherd in Allentown. And these pen pals have different disabilities, whether they were born with them or they developed them over time or some sort of accident happened. So they can't do things normally. So they use assistive devices to help live their everyday lives. And so you get to learn about them and the assistive devices that they use. And lastly, the most popular part of second grade is doing the Invention Fair project. In this project, you get to become an inventor and you create an invention that can help you solve a problem that you have in your life. So these are some of the really neat things that you have to look forward to in the Inventions unit. I'm really, really looking forward to meeting you soon.
Hi, future second graders and second grade families. Welcome to second grade. I'm Mrs. Galota. So our third unit of study in EIC is our natural resource unit. So we'll talk about what natural resources are, the difference between non-renewable and renewable energies, and we'll talk about different types of alternative energies. Some of those different types of alternative energies are water power, wind power, solar power, and geothermal energy. So some of the projects that we do in second grade for alternative energy is we build a dam, we make a solar power oven, and we might even get an opportunity to make yummy treats in those solar power ovens. And we also create wind turbines. So a mini unit that we talk about during our natural resource unit is continents and oceans, and we explore the different types of continents and oceans there are on our planet Earth. Have you ever wondered how much ocean water covers our planet or how much land covers our planet? These are all questions we'll get to answer when we learn about continents and oceans. Another section of the natural resource unit is learning about rocks. Yeah, rocks. So we learn about how are rocks formed? Where can we find rocks? And what are different types of rocks? Here's an example of my rock collection. We'll also get to explore, where does trash go? Why is it so important to recycle? And we'll collect data and become investigators when we investigate, where does this trash go? How much trash is being thrown away at home or at school? And why is it important to be so sustainable? What should you do when you recycle? Can you use some of those items and repurpose them? And we'll teach you how to do all these things when you get to second grade. We look forward to seeing you next school year. Have a great summer. Bye.
Hi, soon to be second graders. I'm Mrs. Moyer, and I am just so excited to meet you all next year in the fall. So, what do we do in second grade? You already learned from Miss Unger about our cool forest unit. You learned from Mrs. Roth about all of the cool things we're going to do in our inventions unit. And then you heard Mrs. Galota talk to you all about our spring natural resources unit. But we do so much more fun stuff in second grade, even outside of our investigations units. So, for example, if the weather works with us and cooperates, we usually tap the maples and make our own maple syrup and have a pancake breakfast. The weather did not cooperate this past year, but we can always hope for next year. In addition, we celebrate the 100th day of school by dressing like we're 100 years old. So the kids have a lot of fun with that. So you can already be thinking about that. And then in addition, you're going to grow so much as a reader and a writer. Second grade is just huge for learning to read. So I'm really excited about that. Reading is my passion, along with investigations. And we also learn about American patriotism. We learn how to fold the American flag, what the flag stands for, what the Pledge of Allegiance means, what the Star-Spangled Banner, our national anthem, represents. And after you learn how to fold the American flag, we participate in a nationwide pocket flag project. What that means is we fold 300, sometimes more, small American flags that are given to our U.S. soldiers that are deploying and going overseas. So Army, Navy, Air Force, Marines, men and women in our service. Our flags in prior years, we've been doing this for about 6 years, 7 years. Our flags in prior years have gone to the Army National Guard right here in Pennsylvania, and also to the 10th Mountain Division Army Rangers up in New York. So that's where we've been providing our flags to. So there are lots of really cool things to look forward to, and I know I am looking forward to doing all those cool things with you, our new second graders, next year. So I can't wait to meet you. Have a good summer.